I just realized that my pancakes are going to go cold. Oh well. The things that we do. All right. Let's pop out the chat. There it is. I did just warn my Discord community that I was going on to live stream, so we'll see if anybody pops in. I don't even know what time it is over in the States right now. Late, I assume? No. Early? Evening? Morning? Oh, maybe nobody's going to show up. Hey, there we go. Hey, Cohen. G'day. How's it going? Don't have much on the cards for what I'm going to talk about today, because I'm deep in the research of my next video, which I announced what the topic was going to be in my last video. Last video is doing very, very well, which I would expect it to, because it's about dragons. Thanks, man. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun making that. I've got another, most of the content that I'm going to produce over the next couple of months will all be topics that were requested and basically paid for by supporters of the channel, of me. So I come from a long family history of customer service, and I take it quite seriously, and that support is like literally feeding me pancakes at the moment. So I try and knock those topics out of the park, give it my best and do the deep research and stuff. The next topic is going to be intelligence, the intelligence attribute, because looking through, as I am, I've got all my tabs open at the moment, looking through all of the different editions of Dungeons & Dragons, from the white box set right up to 2024, and the way that the intelligence has been defined hasn't really changed at all. And it's one of the most important parts of role-playing, because bear in mind, when role-playing sort of started, it didn't start with a rule set, it started with a way of playing, and it was a purely conceptual hobby that was it caught on like wildfire, and Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax quickly put together a rule set and distributed it as best they could, but it was difficult to encapsulate how everybody was playing. Role-playing really started with Dave Wesley, who he had too many people show up to a wargaming evening, so they were supposed to be playing like, Napoleonic war games with, little miniature soldiers and stuff. And there were so many people that showed up that he had to schedule basically who was going to get to play. And in the meantime, what he did was he sat in another room, which was where the tradition of the Dungeon Master sort of being separated by a screen. Gary Gygax often wasn't even in the room when he was dungeon mastering or refereeing a game. And he said, okay, you're each playing the role of individual spies who are now commingling together in this township. So he's created a conceptual space. He's given them a character to play, basic guidelines on what those characters are, but they know they're all, part of that army's sort of nationality. And your mission is to get as much tactical information from your opponents about the distribution and placement of their forces when the game eventually starts, and get a tactical advantage, and also get the lay of the land, etc. And then he started getting notes, which was like, how do we fight a duel? And he's like, what? And he didn't know it at the time, but he had become the first dungeon master, or GM, games master, or referee, as they called it back then, and he was playing the first conceptual role game. This became so popular, this spy game, which was basically, they treated it like a parlor game, like charades, right? Because there was no conceptual basis for what they were doing. Nobody had ever done it before, outside of maybe actors who would do this as a free form, or what we call improv, right? Take on a character and improv a scene. And so what they were doing, and what coincidentally now is more sort of the way that people play these days, ironically, because of streaming and stage performance of games, what they were doing was a purely conceptual game. But how do you market it, right? How do you spread it and disseminate all that information to everybody? How do you get that hobby, that craze to catch on just outside of word of mouth? And that was through fanzines like Tactical Studies Rules, or the Strategic Review, and of course Dragon Magazine that sort of came along, and of course this rule set that they took to conventions, gaming conventions, and people reading it. Like I had the first-hand account of the guy who created Tunnels and Trolls, and he first picked up this rule set, and he hadn't played it. He wanted to play it because the only way you could really learn it was to sit down at the table and play it and experience it. If you just sat down and read the white box rules with no context whatsoever, it was extremely hard to understand what the hell they were talking about, because those were guidelines to help people who understood the conceptual game. Anyway, leaping ahead through all of the additions, the rules have been modified and changed, and Edition has updated everything, but the concepts of how to play a character haven't really developed very much from those original attribute scores, like what is charisma, what is wisdom, what is intelligence. And so inevitably everybody who plays role-playing games who comes across a dragon has got an intelligence of 21. What the hell does that mean exactly? What can they do? So my next video is going to be discussing, because in 3.5 edition they first defined all the different attribute scores by monsters who typically had that level of intelligence. Poor old Camel's got an intelligence of 1, basically just barely even intelligent, which is not fair to camels at all. While gold great worm dragons had an intelligence of 30, which was godlike, right? Divine. So what is an intelligence of 30 compared to a human whose range was typically between 3 and, say, 12 or so? It later got defined. Hey, thanks. Hey, Angel Monk. To a great 2026. So far, it's off to an interesting start. Nobody would have predicted. I'll dip into the comments here. Love the Great Worm video, thank you. Hey Volps. Hey KMG. Hey Trayuga. Hey Steve. Hey Christopher. Hey Bard. It's about 4:30 p.m. in New York. Well, that's a good time for a live stream. Let's talk Rifts. I'm more than happy to talk about Rifts. Because Rifts is built on, Palladium Books is built on the bones of Dungeons and Dragons, and it has the same rough intelligence stats and things, although it does have mental affinity and mental endurance. So it kind of splits wisdom and charisma up into so they have physical beauty, which in Dungeons and Dragons they introduced as comeliness. That was a dragon. I believe that was Dragon Magazine. It was. There's only been a couple of articles in Dragon Magazine about intelligence, and they treated it because back in the 1970s, our idea of intelligence has progressed a hell of a lot in the last 50 years, psychologically and scientifically. And now we're at the stage of artificial intelligence. So it's progressed very rapidly. So it's now a no-brainer that there's nurture and nature and that intelligence can be improved. But back in the 1970s when this game was developed, that was very much a hot topic of debate, whether you were born with a level of intelligence or not, whether you capitalized on it, but there was a cap that you could get to that you wouldn't be able to get past if you were, born that way. So it's been an interesting topic to follow. Hyperborea, RPG, Conan. A lot of people don't know how integrated Conan was in the early Dungeons and Dragons. You still haven't got a notification. Yeah, I know. It's like that. The way YouTube is working at the moment is if a video is popular and has good watch time and good uptake. So if I post a video, first it's given to a select group of my subscribers. And if they show a particular interest in it, then it's recommended to the rest of my subscribers. And if they show a particular interest in it or in a good watch time, then it's promoted to the general public. But you have to get through those barriers to get to there first. And YouTube at the moment is very heavily focused on recent videos as opposed to old content. So you're going to see me scrambling to put out really good videos over the next month or so, because I have to earn any money, because I can't rely on my massive 800 videos of lore and stuff being actually shown to people. They'll just lose it unless they have unless they're subscribed and checking my channel directly. It won't be recommended to people. That's mainly because of the arrival of AI slop, and of course they're putting a lot of heavy emphasis on live streams to counter the inauthenticity of AI slop. Basically, with a live stream, you're talking to an actual person, or a person is actually appearing there, unless, of course, they're using a tune over the thing. But it's still more authentic than, computer-generated stuff. So they're putting emphasis on that. Unfortunately, people who concentrate on long-format, evergreen video content like mine got really, really hard hit by it. Not only that, but the advertising revenue per 1,000 views for YouTubers at the moment has plummeted quite severely after the Christmas, New Year, Thanksgiving period of where normally the advertising revenue would go up. It didn't. It stayed pretty level, and then it's just dropped quite dramatically. So say if you're earning $18 per 1,000 views, it's now sitting at $11 per 1,000 views. That's because advertisers are now using AI to create their adverts themselves, and they're using other platforms across the board because it's cheaper for them to split their advertising revenue elsewhere. That is the economy of Google and YouTube, unfortunately. It's the way that we get paid. And for people who do it for a living like I do, it's a particularly brutal shift in the algorithm that they sort of did to respond to them adopting more and more AI stuff. Because don't forget, Google is an AI company. It's creating AI. And so they want people to use AI, and they're integrating AI into the creator experience and the background tools more and more. So it's a scary time. Now they've sort of shifted, and they're overcompensating a little bit, and they're putting more tools in the hands of long-form content creators like me, and they're adjusting the algorithm as a result. However, in the next couple of months, because our pay cycle is usually delayed by a couple of months or so, you're going to see a lot of YouTube channels that just got this massive downturn in their income. Their views just plummeted, and it's got a heavy psychological toll on content creators, where they see whatever effort they put in, it's like you can create a great video, but it's not even getting to people, not even to your own subscribers. And so that psychologically just is brutal, and you're going to see a whole lot of channels just stop, just quit. Unfortunately, that'll be a lot of D&D channels. Yeah. Some of them will respond more desperately by trying to put out clickbaity content as much as possible, whereas I'm just concentrating on quality and producing videos that people really want to watch, that are very inspiring and authentic, because it's stuff that I'm very passionate about. And it's stuff that I've researched and know a lot about. Intelligence as an attribute is something that I know a lot about. I'm a trained biologist. I've concentrated on xenobiology and xenopsychology as like hobby topics for pretty much my entire life. And I've been role-playing since the 1980s. I was one of the pioneering people that started live streaming in the first place. It certainly wasn't the first, but I was definitely there on the ground when it started. So I've seen the evolution of live streaming and the effect that basically digital tools and stuff have had across the entire hobby. And it's been a very interesting time. But it's now time to talk more about conceptual stuff, because players who have joined the game since 2014 with the advent of 5th edition just haven't had anything in relation to what is intelligence, what is wisdom, what is charisma. How do you represent that as a dungeon master at the table? How do monsters think differently? Like if you raise an octopus to sapience, what does that sapience look like? Because it's not just, I'm Ralph the octopus. It's got a completely different sensory system. It's got a completely different neural structure. It's got a completely different experience of the world, hunting, mating, all of that sort of stuff. And different types of animals have got different types of intelligence. So let's talk about it. It's not a taboo topic, and it's certainly something that is very relevant to everybody who plays role-playing games. If you're playing an Aarakocra or a Tabaxi or a Leonin or a Tiefling or any of these things, how is your intelligence different? How are your sensory systems different? How do they inform what you choose to do and not to do? More so than alignment, I think your particular biological background, if you're a hunter, if you're a herbivore, you know, all those sort of things have a real relevance to role-playing your character. And it's something I think people want to know about. Anyway, nice stash. Thank you, Volbs. Yeah, growing it back. White Dwarf magazine, yeah, for sure. Hello, Iron Hand in Finland. Nice to see you. How is Finland doing with the encroaching war with the Americans? I love the Finland accent. Einstein would probably have an intelligence score of 15. Well, he did have a mutantly large brain. He actually, his brain is probably pickled in a jar somewhere, but he did donate it to science, and he did actually have a larger than average brain. It's not the size per se, it's as people say, you know, smooth brain or wrinkly brain. It's how compact and wrinkly your brain is. Camels can do calculus. I wouldn't know. They can certainly eat amazingly difficult things. The Force is strong with ads. Yeah, unfortunately. So much AI slop. Yeah, it really is just everywhere. And it's impossible to filter it out. Even when you're doing an image search, well, like I searched through tons and tons of dragon art, and in the end, some of it I still wasn't sure whether it was Magic the Gathering art or like some of the stuff you'll see the title on there, like Gwent, the card game, or Magic the Gathering, or it's Wizard of the Coast stock art and things like that, or it's from ArtStation, and I know it's actually art, whether they've made it on Photoshop or not. But other stuff, it's almost impossible to tell. But it was just cool, and I did my best, you know. Yeah, shorts is always recent stuff, and of course, it makes no money for the content creators who are making shorts. They make pennies on views. But of course, they can wedge those advertising slots in between the shorts feeds for people who aren't, you know, subscribed to YouTube. There's definitely going to be consequences for what's happened. Yeah, we've even got AI advertising on our TV, like commercials. Minus 29 degrees Celsius. Wow. Yeah, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's already about 21 degrees Celsius here. So it's hot and steamy, very humid. We've had torrential, like catastrophic rain over the last month. Like, people died. 48 degrees Fahrenheit over in South Florida. That's not too bad. Yeah, that big ice storm that came over did a lot of damage to power lines and things like that over there. My brother's over in the States now. He's an actual American. So he's experiencing a pretty interesting winter. So I've actually got somewhere to stay a few hours drive from Indianapolis if I ever do actually manage to go to Gen Con. So you will see me at Gen Con at some point, but I probably won't be staying in a hotel. How intrinsic to intelligence is a sense of self? What about consciousness or morality? Yeah, exactly. So what is the morality of a cat, for instance? What's the morality, or what form of consciousness do insects have? Those are topics that I'm going to be talking about, because biology, of course, defines those types of intelligence and their behaviors. So a kenku, for instance, of a corvid or a raven stock, as they were traditionally, they've got a particular type of intelligence, and it's not a human intelligence. So there are certain things. So how I'm going to phrase it is what their form of intelligence is, what they do and concentrate on, and what they're good at, and how they interact with humans and human intelligence, because that's really the most important thing, because we are humans playing the game, of course. And the majority of other characters and NPCs that they interact with are most likely to be humans or humanoid. So elves and gnomes and things like that have moderate differences, but I'm talking about quite extreme differences. Cats do have a form of morality. They're more like consequences and immediate concerns. Like, for instance, the way cats approach violence is entirely different to the way that humans do. And it's a really interesting topic to talk about. So I'm really looking forward to writing this video. And I'm getting straight into it. Like, normally I would have at least a day's break where I just sort of let my brain decompress. But I'm jumping right into topic after topic after topic. Because I have to, you know. That the dragon video has given me a little bit of breathing room, and it's like, okay, I can pay my bills. It's all good. Whew. But I'm still looking at my food budget, my cat food budget, and like, You had to scoop a dead iguana off your parents' driveway. Ugh. Cat, sworn to fun, loyal to none. Yeah. Yes, my cat is my favourite little psychopath. He loves me. He does. He's genuinely happy to see me. I give him food and love and safety and security. I'm very regular. He likes the routine of living with me. So he's quite happy. And I give him his freedom to roam around and do his thing. You know, he does his cat stuff. We have certain rules, like don't scratch the curtains, don't bring in dead animals in the house, you know. And he knows the rules. Frosty in Mississippi, man, that's got to be a rare thing. Hello, Neo. Yeah, cats aren't really loyal to other cats, and they certainly have no problem with. They don't have any recognition of familial boundaries when it comes to reproduction. Let's put it that way. So you need to separate siblings when they get mature. Otherwise, you're going to end up with inbred kittens. They are remarkably resistant to inbreeding, though. It takes quite a lot of weird and sick behavior to get polydactyl cats and things. Dog breeders and cat breeders. I'm looking at you. People got too comfortable dumping their pet iguanas in Florida. Yeah. Alabama cats. Why does Alabama get such a bad rap, man? Eclipse Phase has evolved species as playable characters. That's cool. Lots of animals don't, yeah. So, I'm looking forward to that video. Next up, after those, I've got a few videos. I'll bring out my list book. Bear in mind, these are just the requested paid for content, essentially. So this is sponsored by you, by the viewers. By the way, this is also a monetized live stream, so any donations that you feel happy to give be very much appreciated this particular month. So we've done the Great Worm. We've got Shadow Creatures as a topic that's coming up. Then we got, for a special Valentine's Day video, we've got Shares Bastet, the goddess of cats. We got a video discussing Maztica. Does Maztica even exist still on Toril? Because it hasn't been updated since the Sundering, the second Sundering, and we don't know whether it actually returned to Toril or not. It never got confirmed that it did. So we assume it did because Lantan came back and other things, but we don't know. Then we've got Warlocks and Patrons of the Realms. This is very similar to the Faiths and Clerics of the Forgotten Realms video, but we're going to be talking about Warlocks and Patrons, specific to the Forgotten Realms and all of the weird and wonderful possibilities, including Great Worm Warlocks. The Slime Dragon video, I'm probably going to bump that one up, and so that'll probably be the next video that I do after the Intelligence video. And then we've got other cities of Toril, starting with Waterdeep, but we're going to look at Athkatla and Termish and Thay and all sorts of different locations around the place. There's a City of Serpents, for instance, or, tons and tons. Luskan and Westgate, the City of Thieves and Backstabbers. Then we're going to have a look at the Tanaruk and the Orogs, which are the two different sort of tiefling and Cambion orc species, who definitely are evil as hell. So, we're going to have a look at them as well. Like, where are the Orogs and where are Tanaruk? What is a Tanaruk exactly? Then somebody has requested a video that I make a complete guide to my alter ego. Much like the dragons have alter egos across different worlds, my assumed persona in the Forgotten Realms is basically an alter ego, and there's also an immortal version of my alter ego, Rune. So we've got Pickaroon on my name, AJ Pickett, and we've got Pickaroon on the world of Toril, who's a dire halfling, whatever the hell that means. And then, of course, we've got the story of his transition into being a rune, being a immortal of the sphere of thought, who, of course, is loyal to the immortals of Mystara, and what his deal is. So, yeah, we're going to cover all of that as well. So lots and lots of cool stuff coming up. And I'll be wedging in other, dragon species like beast dragons of the Beastlands, which I haven't covered yet. More on celestial dragons, prismatic dragons, radiant dragons, that sort of thing, because people find them really fascinating too. Yeah, intelligence is pattern recognition, and also it's mostly like just mental real estate, mental processing power. So in Dungeons & Dragons, it's represented by spell slots. So what exactly is a spell slot? Well, it's something that you can do simultaneously, like when you rub your head and pat your belly and stuff like that. Those are two different concentration streams. Well, wizards have to master the ability to concentrate on 6 different things at the same time in order to have 6 different pre-cast spells that they've memorized. So they're sort of running through the process in their head, right? Because it's not like memorized and then it just sort of magically disappears. It's like a song which is stuck in your head, like you're rickrolling yourself all day with 6 different songs and doing all the stuff at the same time. So their intelligence has to be really high, and their concentration has to be really high. But when they cast that spell, they can relax, forget about that rickrolling song going on in their head. They can forget that ditty, and yeah. So at the start of the day, they're literally uploading their radio signal for the day. And then, of course, when they cast the spell, they do the somatic and material components. Say the keyword, the chorus line, and boom, the spell goes off, and then they can relax and don't have to think about it again. That's the way it's kind of supposed to work with fantasy and magic, or that's my interpretation of it anyway. Hello, Obsidian Ameth. Nice to see you. A 5D being, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to... Well, we're going to talk about like godlike levels of intelligence and things like collective intelligence of insects and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll touch on high intelligence and like the next order of intelligence above human intelligence for sure, and the different modes that can be. I'll try not to get too technical. I'll make it relevant for role-playing games, really. I'm not going to get into AI and all that sort of stuff. That's unfortunate for people on my Discord server who do listen to me talk about that sort of stuff. Particularly at 3 o'clock in the morning. Does Baxi remain quiet? Yeah. Hey, Sean Howe. Mr. Mackey says, here's an idea for you to take or leave all the liches Larlock that has working for him. He could have Grave Pact Warlords working for him, yep, and they could even form their own organization. Yeah, well, of course, there's the Twisted Rune, which is a secretive cabal of undead, mostly liches. And of course, anybody who becomes an annual subscriber or supporter on my fourth wall can automatically request a video, which I will make for them. That's the deal. And people can commission individual, if they want to just pay for a video, hit me up on Discord in a private message and we'll talk about it. So if there's a video you've always wanted me to make, now's your chance. I'm fully open to it. I'm a paid professional sage. I will pay for, if you pay for it, I'll do it. Yeah, there's Obsidian Ameth. I talked about this just before in the live stream, so you'll want to watch this back. But yeah, there's definitely a problem with AI. It's here to stay, obviously, but the way that YouTube and Google are managing it at the moment is very important. So yeah, I don't think it's the death of YouTube. It's just too big of a monolith, and nothing is even close to it. I do think a really good alternative to YouTube for content creators like me making long form content is Substack, because Substack has just moved into video, and they've already got a bunch of tools which are useful for any YouTuber. Yeah, if you combine Substack and the way that they auto generate clips and short content, yeah, it's fantastic for cross promoting your channel stuff across lots of different platforms. YouTube doesn't do that, so they've really dropped the ball because they haven't developed that sort of tech, because they're concentrating on the huge monolith that it is. Whereas Substack, which is new and just entered into the sphere, is more up to date with the way that social media and stuff actually work and how self-promotion actually works. So they've got a bunch of tools which they've developed very quickly, which are really, really good for video content creators. So I highly recommend other YouTubers get into Substack as quickly as possible. And if you're interested in self-publishing that isn't through Drive-Thru RPG and isn't through Amazon necessarily, through questionable, dodgy third-party sites and stuff, Substack is a long-standing avenue to self-publishing for authors on all sorts of different topics. And it's kind of underrepresented in fantasy and sci-fi, actually. But yeah, that's where you meet other writers and writing communities, and they form natural networks through Substack, kind of like LinkedIn for creatives. Yeah, yeah. I do. Obviously, if you request a topic which is going to be wildly bad for my channel, or it's something really distasteful that I really, really don't want to do, I reserve the right to refuse to do it, of course. But that's what we will talk about. We'll talk about it. Like if you want me to make, oh goodness, the nine-tailed fox, or or a guide to hag boobs or something like that, obviously, no. Or dragon reproduction, please no. Do lizard folk have mammary glands? Please no. I don't. Different milk varieties of the Forgotten Realms. I blame you, Ed Greenwood, for this. Yeah, you can certainly ask me those questions anytime you like. But yeah, yeah, the Nothic is. I have a Nothic superfan, as you'd imagine. Yeah, exactly. I will never make. I assure you, I'm probably never going to make a video about D&D milk. Can you milk a Tressum? Like, yeah, it's got nipples. That's as close as I'll get. Mm-hmm. Yeah, second edition Invoker is a 5th edition Warlock. Yep, that's true. What we don't have is the Duelist from second edition Unearthed Arcana and Dragon Magazine. The Duelist was a really interesting class. It was not overpowered at all, which was quite a sort of different take. Like to play a duelist, it was all about the concept of being a duelist. And a duelist is, in a nutshell, a person who picks fights with nobles because they're paid to do it. And as long as nobody finds out that they were paid to do it, then it's legal, because it's just an honor duel. But if it turns out that they were paid to incite the noble to fight them because they knew that they could kill them, essentially paying for them to publicly execute them and humiliate them, then they get strung up or run out of town or banished or whatever. So it was a really interesting character class to play. You were a wicked duelist sword fighter, very good at it, and your job was kind of like a bard. You would play up your own, you would take on this role and insult this person, basically cutting word them until they're furious at you. They challenge you to a duel, you accept and then murder them and get paid a fat coin purse for it. Fantastic character class to play. Probably pick a more classic Infernal related video in some way. Yeah, sure. My favorite Wuxia TTRPG don't really have one. I would say the closest I get to it is Ninjas and Super Spies and Mystic China from Palladium is the best and the closest. I haven't even played a lot of Karatur stuff for Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. It's not my fault per se, it's just I've never really encountered a playing group that is into it or does play it. They're certainly around, but yeah. It is an assassin, essentially. It's a public assassin. Yeah. So an assassin in plain sight is the idea. You use a loophole in the honor system of combat to do it, as long as nobody finds out. Yeah, exactly. It's not a normal experience being a wizard, and there's a good reason why wizards go bonker crazies. You know, they go nuts, and like they should. You know, if you're delving into the arcane, you should be a little bit nuts. Kung Fu Media, usually from the feudal period. Yeah. So I like the mystic side of it. So, you know, Taoist demon hunters and things like that, where they wrestle and pinch demons and things like that. You know, the many different hells. So as close as I get to Wuxia is Big Trouble in Little Tokyo. Big Trouble in Little China. It's a great movie, man. The thing I really love about that movie, which Kurt Russell and the other co-stars know full well that the audience wouldn't get it, is that Kurt Russell isn't actually the lead in the movie. It's his friend who's going to rescue his girlfriend. Kurt Russell is just his sidekick, essentially. But they sort of swap being the leading character. So they were Malkavian. They were definitely playing up, you know, on that role. Yeah, best RPG movie. The best way to play that movie, without making a specific RPG for it, is literally Palladium Books' Beyond the Supernatural combined with Ninjas and Super Spies and Mystic China. And a little bit of Heroes Unlimited in there as well. And, you know, mutant animals, because they've got yetis and all that sort of stuff. But so you can make Kenku and all that sort of stuff easily, and just slot it all together. And it's all got a universal rule system, which works fine. It works fine because that's not using mega damage from rifts. So the game is actually really quite well balanced. Combat is, of course, old school and grinds, and takes a long time, but you kind of want that in a Kung Fu movie. You want to know because you slow it down to like cinematic time, like Matrixy. So every kick and style of kick and all that sort of stuff is really good. And I've never had a bad experience in playing Palladium. Yeah, Palladium is just awesome. It's the game that I sort of cut my teeth on, even before I was playing or dungeon mastering D&D. I was always a player of D&D, but I didn't dungeon master D&D until much later, like, you know, 3rd edition, really. So, yeah. Played a lot of OD&D and AD&D, but didn't dungeon master a lot of it. I've dungeon mastered all the way from 3rd edition up until the current edition. And I always switch to the latest edition, and unfortunately 2024 is no exception. I looked at it and went, oh yeah, I can play this. As soon as I actually delved in, I resisted looking at the books for a long time, but then I started to delve into them because, you know, people were asking me for content on Great Worms, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I have to delve into 2024. And yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Certainly not as bad as you hear from people who are clickbaiting. The people who are actually playing the game, it's not that bad. Honestly, it's still D&D. When you sit down and roll dice and start talking shit, it's still D&D. Like, yeah. And the rules don't matter as long as your friendships are good around the table. It'll be like, take it or leave it. Everybody house rules anything, everything anyway. You know, I should put that on a t-shirt, actually. If the friendship's good, the rules don't matter. Who has the thanks, folks? Who has the best mustache, the Sage or Mordenkainen? Fucking I do, for sure. Plus, I have hair on my head. Believe it or not, I actually do have a little bit of hair. That, yeah. Todd Kenson is actually, Todd Kendrick is actually Mordenkainen. If he shaves his head, he looks more like Mordenkainen than I do. For sure. No offense, Todd. Interview me, by the way, you prick. Palladium for the win! Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is about Palladium, man, but it's just like if you put in the effort to learn it, and it's not that hard, you only got to learn one rule system. Like D&D is just as hard to learn from scratch as Palladium is. Plus, it's like modern concepts and things. So probably the hardest thing to master is roll with punchful impact. So defending yourself after you've already taken damage to reduce damage by rolling with it. The way that you skip turns because you've dodged out of the way, but if you actually visualize it, it's like I've jumped out of the way, therefore I've sacrificed my ability to do anything because I'm rolling on the ground. I'm diving behind cover and things, so you can dodge and dodge and dodge and dodge until you sort of run out of dodges. But yeah, parry is the other one. But the most difficult thing to understand for Palladium and combat is sprays of automatic gunfire. How many bullets, bullet distribution, how many averages of hits and things like that. That can be a little bit tricky. And their balance is a little bit out with missiles and explosive and things like that. So, yeah. People do tend towards getting really high caliber like vehicle stopper rounds and incendiary hand grenades and mini missiles and things like that because, yeah. Like in reality, those things can level the playing field real quick. Doesn't matter if you're, Wolverine. Nobody handles getting a bazooka to the chest particularly well, or having an A&M14 incendiary hand grenade dropped into an elevator shaft that they just happen to be in, and it's got a lethal radius of 60 feet. You get melted. Bargle the infamous. Todd should get called that all the time. He is actually much, much taller in real life than Mordenkainen. Mordenkainen is not like 6'4". He's an average sized person. Still pretty strong, but he's not like a sword fighter. Yeah, well, it's quite possible that Mordenkainen has got echoes or clones of himself, much like Manchun. So yeah. The goat is growing his goat back. Yeah. I just can't be bothered. It's like summertime. You can't be bothered shaving. It's like, ugh. I don't want irritated skin on top of sweat and everything else. And luckily, because of the Scandinavian heritage, I grow very little hair on my cheeks, So this is the best I can do, literally. But this thick puppy here, this rat on my upper lip is purely because of the Scottish and British heritage. It's not the Scandinavian side of things. The Scandinavian side definitely doesn't favour beard growth, which is odd, really, because Vikings are always depicted with big, thick beards. But in actual fact, if you look at Scandinavians, not many of them have very thick beards. Not entirely sure why. Just the way it goes. Don't tend to have a lot of body hair either. I think it's got to do with the cold climate. Like, you don't want sweat and stuff sticking to your skin, for sure. That's as good an explanation as ever. Mordenkainen is a clone of Bargle that stopped having fun. Yeah, he's like the Mystara version of Bargle. Bargle is the Mystara version of Mordenkainen, and Mordenkainen is the Greyhawk version of Mordenkainen, and Todd Kendrick is the Earth version of Mordenkainen. You're 100% Scandinavian, and you're like a forest. You're 100% Scandinavian. Sounds a little bit inbred, dude. Like, there's nothing else in me. Yeah. So my great aunt, who passed away last year, she got to 103, man. So she was my grandfather's sister. And I take very heavily after my grandfather. I've got the same sneeze. I've got a lot of the same mannerisms. I've got a lot of the same appearance. My lips is exactly the same as his. My eyelids are exactly the same. So he and my uncle, who now lives in Canada, I look the most like them. And so she always sort of gravitated towards me because she saw her brother and her family in me, passed down. And I was very close to my Auntie Joan. But yeah, 103. That's some Aragorn DNA right there. So yeah, I'm pushing. It's my birthday is on Valentine's Day, coming up real soon, and I'm going to be 54. Believe it or not, 54. I feel like I'm 34. It's like, what? When did I get the olds? But yeah. So yeah, I've got a long way to go. All my friends, like from British heritage, are they're not aging particularly well. A lot of them are like, they're on the Ozempic and they're doing marathons and stuff like that. But there's definitely a difference. There's definitely a difference, and it's getting more and more pronounced the older we get. Another Aquarius. So we got Volps, who's an Aquarius. We got you. February the 11th. Yeah, so we're practically the same. I'm the only person who likes old school Palladium, like you do. I haven't actually looked into the Savage rules system for Rifts because I'm not playing it a lot with other people. But you're more than welcome to jump into my Discord server, and I'll run a game, man, for sure. Heroes Unlimited all day, every day. February 10th. There you go. We should have a birthday live stream party. Because Valentine's Day is a terrible day to have a birthday party, obviously. It's like, hey man, do you guys want to come around to my place? Well, I was kind of going to spend the evening with my girlfriend. It's like, oh yeah, totally understand. Cool. No, that's cool. That's cool. I'll just be sitting home alone, crying. Shit, what was I talking about? Yeah, Palladium. The Savage Rifts, I haven't really looked into it because I played traditional Rifts. I just swap out 10 SDC to 1 MDC as my house rule, and that works just fine. Yeah, Christmas Day. My dad's birthday was on Christmas Eve, and he was always like, give me 2 presents, god damn it, not 1. It's like, I always got robbed of presents. It's like, true. So I always got him 2 presents for his birthday and then for Christmas. Petulant. But fair enough. Nice. Cool. Your mother's birthday's on the 9th. February 15th. Wow. I should just rename this the Aquarius live stream. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Is it what? I mean, look at the world. No secrets. That's one of the characteristics of the age of Aquarius, if you're into that sort of literature and stuff. I mean, it's been around for 5,000 years. I read about it. I don't dismiss it out of hand. I've actually studied astrology, for what it's worth. Because who knows? We don't really understand gravity and all that sort of stuff. I think what it is mainly is that human personalities have got a phenotype, and they just sort of associate it with things that seem to match up. And I think a lot of the information about that branch of science and psychology got lost in the collapse of civilizations around the Mediterranean with the advent of the sea people, and of course the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages. So yeah, what you see in the newspapers with your daily horoscopes and stuff is of course bullshit. But don't dismiss astrology completely out of hand, because it is ancient knowledge. So it's worth at least the respect for our historic elders and their thoughts and thinking on psychology. And it's really interesting if you think of a group of people, how all those different star signs as different personality archetypes work together really well. And if you do get a bunch of people and it's all one star sign, and then get them to do a project, they generally fail in the way that you would expect them to. So it's like the physical evidence of it backs up the claims. You don't get a bunch of Pisces together to fix a car because, they'll end up crocheting the blankets and never getting around to it. Sorry, Pisces. I don't want to, stereotype you as wishy-washy or anything, but you're definitely fun to work with. You're great in like creative situations and things like that. If you're planning a wedding or a banquet or something, Pisces are fantastic to have around because they come up with all these great ideas, and they're all about, this would be fun. Yeah. Whereas the Aquarians are like dispassionately doling out wisdom. It's like, no, I know this, I know that, I know this. We can do this, you can do that. We sometimes come across as dispassionate, cold, and aloof, but we are actually a humanitarian air sign. Welcome to the astrology stream, everyone. I happen to know these things, so you don't. You don't have to. You're a Virgo. Nothing wrong with being a Virgo. I'm surprised you actually spoke up and said you're a Virgo in public. Usually kind of reserved. What's my view on Scorpio? That's a secret. They love their secrets. They like knowing stuff about other people and having upper hand in that regard. That's just my personal experience. But Scorpios are very passionate and really interesting, very intelligent usually, and quite focused. Geminis, yeah. The best sign for conversation, if you get an Aquarius and a Sagittarius together, yeah, don't ever feel bothered about ramming yourself into the middle of the conversation and interrupting one of them when they're talking, because they do not leave gaps for you to enter the conversation, because they start talking at high speed. It's like stream of consciousness communication between Sagittarians and Aquarians. They can literally just talk all day for hours, and just no topic is off the cards when Sagittarians and Aquarians start talking. They're actually a really good relationship couple, because Aquarians are very independent and Sagittarians love their freedom. So they draw together through mutual interests, not through commitment or anything else like that. They just literally love being with each other and love being left alone to do their own thing or concentrate on the thing that they're doing. So they're actually a really good relationship couple. Believe it or not. You're way more fiend than angel. There's nothing wrong with being a Virgo. Yeah, what star sign is the Trump? I don't even want to know. A Leo, maybe? No, I don't know. When's the president's birthday? I don't even know. There you go. You're an Aquarius and your wife is a Sagittarius. And yes, we yap about random stuff for hours and hours and hours. Exactly. Trump's a Gemini. Makes sense. So yeah, I mean, it's a guideline. It's a phenotype. It's a character class that you play. You don't have to play two class. People can be very diverse. I don't really know a lot about Aries per se. Maybe it's not such a common star sign here. I know a lot of Capricorns and I know a lot of Tauruses. Capricorns are, I'm loath to say bullies, but they definitely can be authoritarian, and they like things done. Now, done, do it, get it done. So that Capricorn is the star sign of the Roman Empire, for instance. Go forth and conquer, organize shit. This way, we do it this way. Yeah, but they're really good at instigating things. So if you want to go on a road trip or something like that, they're like, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to plan this, we're going to plan this, and we want everybody here on time, and we all get in the car. Have you got your thing? No? Well, we're leaving it behind. We're on a schedule. So Capricorns are good like that. But the other thing too is that Capricorns are more, unlike Leos tend not to take personal responsibility for things. They're like bulletproof. They're the movie star, right? The lion's mane. It's like, me. And that's great. They can be a little bit fragile. Capricorns, on the other hand, do take things personally, and they have deep feelings about things. So if they hurt somebody, they really regret it. They don't like being referred to as a bully, for sure. Like, it really bothers them. So a Capricorn who's prone to depression is like too proud to go and get help for it, and it can be crushing. Yeah. But anyway, this is all related to the topic, I suppose, of the mind and personality and things. I suppose I could touch on, star signs and astrology. Nah, probably not. I don't think it'd go down particularly well with the general role-playing populace. Be interesting, actually, to do a survey of how many people, are interested in this and role-playing. Quite a lot, I think, because it is kind of mysticism. He made it a holiday. Of course he did. I mean, yeah. Above all else, he's a narcissistic megalomaniac. We all know this. So yeah, it's not a reflection on the star sign that he happens to be. Hey, Robert. You're a Leo. Good for you. I mean, Leos are fantastic. Like, movie stars, man. Like, if a Leo's having a good time, generally it's a great time. Star of the show, because they're the person that they're the fun Bobby, right? They're when everything's going well, they're like the life of the party, and they're very magnanimous, like, or magnetic personalities. Like, it's fun to be around a Leo. They're good. They're fun to look at. But yeah, they're not there to pick up the pieces. They're on to the next cool thing. And the next cool thing. It's like, responsibility? No. That's for other people. They're like cats in that regard. It's like, yeah, so I broke the window. Fuck it. The window was weak. You should get better windows. I could have been hurt. Yeah, Moonthirst, I'm just about to... Yeah, just about. You got about 3 minutes of live streaming left. Thanks, Comic Nut. Thank you very much for the live streams, the donations, guys. Very much so. And anybody who donates money in the comments on videos and things like that is really good for the metrics and stuff as well. And that there goes into my pocket. But of course, the best way if you want to support me is, I have a PayPal account. You can pay me directly if you want to. I definitely do appreciate it this particular month, because yeah, YouTube has cut my income by quite a lot. I'm fine. I'm not destitute or anything, but I don't have any discretionary spending for art supplies and things like that. It's all food and bills, and that's about it. Coming in real late, help a friend move into my place, but character idea, gnome rogue who dresses like a garden gnome, pure stealth build. Yeah, nice. I found my character sheet for Snicklegrick. He's a level 8, he's a level 7 cleric and level 1 rogue. So cleric rogue, dark cleric of Gelf Darkearth, who's the brother of Gal Glittergold. And he was probably one of the best role-playing characters that I've ever had, for sure. And I played him all the way through the Tyranny of Dragons adventure. And yeah, fantastic character. Like, not only did I love playing him, but everybody loved what a unique son of a bitch he was. Because he wasn't a nice character. He was just like, yeah, we totally understand where your character's coming from, but geez, like psychological torment that your character has given mine over the course of this thing. Because every time you want healing and stuff, he's like, what do you have to sacrifice to Gelf? So it's like, he wasn't interested in getting paid. No, it wasn't currency that he was interested in. It was emotion. So he would say, well, what trinket do you have? What memento do you have that means something to you? And it's like, well, I've got this trinket that I got given from my dad who's passed away. It's like, hand it over, smashes it on a ceremonial anvil. You're like, oh! He's like, your suffering goes to Gelf. Now I can heal you, Yeah. And he did that many times. Right at the end of the campaign, when the storm giant gives us this fantastic magical sword, I'm like, well, and they're like, no, AJ, there's like nothing to gain from doing this. It's like, no, even if you get a boon from your god for doing this horrible thing of destroying this magical artifact, why? And I said, because it's what my character has done the entire time, and you didn't do anything this time. Yeah, and just the collective groan and appreciation of me sticking to character like that. And the DM gave me a sort of post-campaign boon for that. But yeah, that was fantastic. Their pain, I was like, I got a bit of Schadenfreude out of it. I did definitely enjoy, them being tormented on behalf of their characters a little bit. Because, you're a cleric. They need you. But he also had a moment where he was like riding on the nose of a dragon to fight a big blue dragon in a big desert arena, and he had a young storm giant on the back of the giant who's like, thunder coming into his hammer, and I'm like on the nose, and I'm speaking in the divine vocalization of because I was using like a voice mod thing. And he's like speaking a spell of blessing on the dragon and him, and riding literally like an X-wing dragon down a channel towards the heart of the combat, and literally launched off it and slammed into him with his hammer at the same time. So it was like tag teams, hammer slams, thunderbolt. Didn't do anything to the dragon, but the visuals, man. I'm sitting there and I'm literally scribbling the artwork of what is going on in the game. It was a fantastic scene. Like, the whole campaign was worth it. The Jungian archetypes, yeah, for sure. For the Emperor! Cats will cost you $1,500 for falling through a window, and then as soon as they're home from the vet, they'll try to jump at the same window again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're creatures of habit. See you, Mr. Mackey. I don't know. That sounds like a Virgo thing, obsessing with the rules and things. Stay safe on the roads. Beware the moon. Do not leave the path. You just moved. You moved and had to quit your job. Oof, tough time of year to do it too. Yes, all donations eventually go into Spooky's stomach. It's true. He eats more than I do. Thanks, Moondust. My son's biological mother was a Leo. She left me and the baby at 6 months old. Went back to modelling, and my son didn't meet her until he was 19. Holy shit, playing to stereotype. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no shade to Leos, but woo. Yeah, Johnny Mnemonic is still holds up, really. Man, it's brutal. Brutal Agile Monk. I'm not sure what star sign my granddad was on my dad's side, his father, but I didn't meet him until I was 7 years old either. And that was because there was a particularly acrimonious divorce. Actually, maybe my grandmother on my dad's side was a Leo, because she was kind of narcissistic as well, and that's probably why I didn't see him until I was 7, because she was sort of on the scene. They were both interesting characters, the greatest generation. Yeah. Right, time for me to go, everyone. It's been a good stream. We've kind of stayed on topic. It's veered around the subject of psychology and intelligence, so that's good. Thank you very much. Looking forward to producing all those videos. Intellect video coming up, the intelligence stat, the complete guide as best I can do. Then slime dragons. Who doesn't love a slime dragon? Might even throw some homebrew stuff in the between there, maybe some old school stuff from the Fiendfolio. Yeah, I'm open to suggestions. But yeah, so I'll continue producing those sponsored videos. They all tend to be pretty good topics that are fairly popular. So I'm very happy with the way that they've gone, and the Great Worm video has given me a bit of breathing room, and yeah, has been very good for my channel. So more than I could have hoped for. So thank you very much for everybody who tuned in and watched that. On average 20 minutes, which is unbelievable. So yeah, I really enjoyed making that content. And I was just thinking today actually that because dragons are creatures of magic and the magic ability of dragons isn't really discussed in the rulebooks very well, why don't we come up with more specific stuff? Like somebody in the comments mentioned dragons should have magic resistance. And I was thinking, well, really, when you look at what the Great Worms are doing, they're concentrating magical energy through their hordes. Why don't they have the ability to consume magic or redirect and absorb magic or create wild magic zones as shields and create null magic zones and that sort of stuff? Like the fundamentals of meta magic should be based around what dragons can do. When you think about it, like if you're some master, one of the architect of meta magic, who concentrated so heavily on dragons. I mean, he basically created the Dracolich ritual, right? So wouldn't meta magic be what dragons do? Because when you look at the old way that they sort of handled dragon magic in the game, it was all about manipulation of their breath weapon. So, you know, extending a spell or enlarging a spell or empowering a spell was all about what dragons do with their breath weapon. So yeah, maybe a little bit more of that. Oh yes, Eberron dragons. That's another topic that I want to cover as well. Definitely. Because Eberron dragons are a totally, like the Ascended dragon. That's a totally different kettle of fish. And Eberron is a really good example of, oh sorry, I'm thinking about Athos. Athos, Dark Sun. Eberron, yeah. I sort of shied away from Eberron because I had, it was right around the transition period where there was the old school Eberron content and then 3.5 brought in new Eberron content, and a lot of the old school fans paid no attention to that whatsoever. So when I was talking about it, they were like, what? Because they didn't understand any of the lore changes that I was talking about. So I got a lot of flack in the comments, and I was just like, you know what? I don't even play Eberron that much, so fuck it. I just left the topic behind. But there's a lot of people who play Eberron now. And Keith Baker's a good guy. Maybe I should do an interview with him. I don't know. So, yeah. I'm open to the idea of Eberron, for sure. It's particularly if somebody sponsors a video. Yes. But Athos dragons. Oh, the whole thing of Athos and the way that it doesn't have a modified weave. Hey, thank you, Zar. Thank you, Juby. What is the Tsar currency? Where's that from? Is that Finland? No. Yes? No. Super sticker. All right. Cool. Thank you very much. That's a nice note to end on. They do consume magic, right? Yeah. Yeah. Athos rules are a whole different can of worms. Nice. Okay. For reals. Catch you later, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I'll be back with another live stream after I've uploaded 2 more videos. So yeah, that's my rule now.